record this. So I wanted to talk today specifically about moving through resistance because of, what I'm hearing from our coaches in terms of what some of you all are experiencing, the people that I am coaching right now as well, and even what's happening in my own life and leadership. There's always going to be resistance, especially when we are pursuing something that matters to us. When we want to go to the next level, when we're looking to achieve the goal, when we are done settling and tolerating the BS in our lives, we are going to experience resistance. And one of the things that I have come to believe to be true is that from a spiritual perspective, the enemy hates it when women become more whole and when we achieve big, beautiful things in this world. There's a whole theological conversation I could have about why I think that is true, from the beginning, why the enemy hates it for us specifically. But then I'd also layer in the fact that the patriarchy hates it when we move into our whole self, when women no longer play small, when we stop hiding, when we stop tolerating, when we show up as our full self, even as how Amy just described in her own body, how that feels different and what that looks like for her when she knows she is more whole because she is not disembodied, she is in her own body and living into her whole self. So there are some very large, both forces and systems at play, not even to mention the internal stuff that goes on for us when we face resistance. So as I have been personally experiencing some resistance this week in my own life and leadership, there have been 4 different things that I wanted to share with you all that I am, I'm practicing what I preach. I'm saying this to myself as much as I am saying it to you all today, and am really cheering us all on toward moving through resistance instead of succumbing to it and allowing for that resistance to cause us to quit or to stop participating or to not engage anymore. So here's the 4 things that I would say about how to move through resistance. Number 1 is to expect it. We have to expect that the resistance is coming. You will only get resistance if you're actually moving forward. So resistance is a good sign. Resistance is showing you that you are moving into something that has some force attached to it, right? So resistance is not a bad thing. Resistance is not something, it's not evidence that you're doing something wrong. I think on the contrary, evidence is actually revealing that you are moving forward and you are breaking into some new territory. And so if you can expect it, that's part of the normalization of that allows for us to go, okay, this isn't crazy. This isn't bad. Nothing is wrong. This is actually to be expected, right? So expect the resistance. The second thing I would say is reframe it. So there are a couple of questions that I ask when I start to experience resistance, whether that is internal resistance or that is external resistance. And that's probably another conversation for another day, but there's both kinds of resistances, right? You can experience the internal resistances of self-limiting beliefs and the narratives, the stories that we tell ourselves, the internal of this has happened before, so it's probably going to happen again. Those are internal resistances. External ones are when you fall down and you hurt your knee, you have surgery on your arm, when you get fired from a job, when somebody tells you that you're full of crap, there are external things that can come at you. But there's 2 questions that I ask myself to help reframe it when I am experiencing resistance. The first question is, what if this is not happening to me, but it is happening for me? What if this isn't happening to me, but it's happening for me? The reason why that question is so valuable is because it places you, again, in a posture of abundance, not as a victim, and as in a place where there's possibility, not it's not like you're being killed. So if this is happening for you, if this is a gift, if this is an opportunity, if God is still in this or can do something within this, then you don't have to be taken out and you don't have to let the resistance take you out. Second question I'll ask myself is, what is now the right time for X, Y, or Z? So what is happening right now that this is exactly the right time for? So maybe that is a re-evaluating of my priority, or maybe that is a different posture, or maybe it is a different spiritual practice. You all are in the spiritual wholeness month this month. So what if there's a different spiritual practice for me to engage? What if this is the right time for me to pivot, to shift trajectories, to do something new, to stop doing something, to tweak something that was kind of working, but not really? So what if now is the right time to actually do this other thing instead? So that reframe helps me to shift my perspective and get out of like the dog chasing its tail type of stuckness, and shift how I work through the resistance and move through it. So reframe it. Third thing I would say, is it getting loud out here with this? Can y'all hear the landscaping happening? Okay. There's always landscaping in my neighborhood. It's crazy. Third thing I would say about moving through resistance is to expose it. One of the greatest gifts, and the reason why we do coaching groups, is because of the sisterhood. It is because of how you get to walk with other women who are equally committed to wholeness in her life and in her leadership. So when you expose the resistance, when you invite somebody else into your own resistance and how you're feeling like you're just hitting up against something, that allows for more accountability and support through that resistance. Accountability and support, y'all, if you've not caught this yet, if you've not experienced this yet, accountability and support are essential, crucial, critical, of utmost importance when it comes to you going to the next level or achieving your goal or becoming more whole. You've got to have those two things. Like, it's more essential than toilet paper was in March of 2020. Like, you've got to have that as support and accountability. Otherwise, you're dead. You're dead in the water and you are living not into your potential whatsoever. So when you expose your resistance, when you say to a sister or to a brother that you're struggling, or that something feels off, or you feel like you're hitting a wall, or you can't figure out how to break through this thing, or you just feel like, yeah, you're hitting a ceiling, that exposure, it breaks down the power of that resistance, and it actually allows you to move through it with more ease and less force and less pushing. So expose the resistance. Fourth thing, embrace it. I wish I had done the alliteration a little bit better, because I had 3 E's and 1 R. The teacher in me is now pinching myself. The fourth one is embrace it. So it kind of is a full circle into the expected. If we can embrace the reality that resistance will come our way when we are breaking through stuff, that is, again, a gift to be able to go like, oh man, this is really beautiful. Like, something is on the other side of this wall or this ceiling, or, this limit that I have hit up against right now. So thank you, God, that this is coming to me. This isn't happening to me, it's happening for me, right? It's a sign. Your resistance is a sign that you're actually moving toward breakthrough. One of the things that I'll tell clients all the time is, what got you here will not get you there, right? So that's why throughout these 6-month groups, we are constantly inviting you, challenging you to do new things, to do something you have never done before. Because if you've already done it, you're going to keep getting those same results. But you're in here because you want different results in your life or your leadership. Otherwise, why would you pay for this? Why would you spend 6 months of your life investing into this? You want to get something that you've never had before. And so you've got to do new things. And embracing resistance is probably a part of something that you've never done before. For a lot of us, we experience resistance and we're like, I'm just going to go back and watch Netflix, or I'm just going to keep talking to myself the same crappy way that I've always talked to myself, or I'm going to keep settling for this person to keep treating me like they're treating me. And the resistance has caused us in the past to go back, when instead it's an invitation to go in. And that embracing that is a gift. So resistance is really evidence that you're doing something new, not that anything is wrong. So those are the 4 things that I have been personally walking myself through this week. And as I've kind of cycled back in coaching conversations that I've had with women over the last couple of years, particularly, these things have been themes. So I wanted to offer that to you because you are 5 weeks away, some of you, from achieving your top goal or not. And my guess is that at this point, there are some resistances that are coming up for you. So you've got a choice at this point of whether to go back and be like, yeah, I knew it really wasn't possible anyway. This coaching crap doesn't work. Or you can go, maybe this is evidence that I'm doing something new and the breakthrough is right on the other side of this resistance. So I'm going to stay the course. The enemy, the patriarchy, doesn't get the final say. And I am going to move through this and not let that win. So that's what I would have for you specifically tonight. I know that there were a couple of things that y'all wanted to take advantage of in our Q&A. So I will pause and allow for some feedback or for questions to kind of percolate and go from here. And I'll stop recording now.